you doing? Well, my birthday is tomorrow, so I've been celebrating the whole month, but I've been taking care of some things. School, registration. I'm getting ready to fly to Dubai and then from there to Abu Dhabi. So I have a lot going on and put together. But that's not really true in the sense of what I have in store for you. Now, I'm not going to talk about it on this segment because I don't want to eat too much time. We're talking about Venus in Aquarius in part 2, where I'm now going to focus on the men. In part 1, I focused on the women. And I didn't give you too much because there was still a lot more to say concerning the women and the Venus in Aquarius. But 25 minutes is so much. But I have an idea, and I want your opinion about that. I want to take the time to thank um, people who have been donating to my cause, donating me for content. I love you guys. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for being giving, for understanding that, once we get 30,000 subscribers, we're home free. I don't have to be pushing for donations for content because there's a lot of work and people got to get paid. So I appreciate, well, for those of you who are donating and really championing the cause. I thank you. So I want to be able to thank. There's a lot of you who are anonymous. You don't want to put your names, but for those of you who have, Cherise Poirier, Eloise Lesueur, I believe Lesuer, Eloise. Thank you. Ebella Arizi, Kayla Davis, Armondas Walker. Um, Let me see that. Wonderful. You guys have been wonderful. Marcelina Martinez, Natasha Matt Ancobia, Erin Chong. Thank you so much for your donations and for contributing to the content and for believing in my content and for trusting me to give you knowledge that academic universities is obsolete. You're not even going to get this information from universities unless you go away to Europe because it's certainly not going to be available openly in the United States. So and that's why you have not heard of this. And the astrology that we learn in Europe is very different from the astrology that we learn in the United States, even though we are all centered in the West. But astrology is more accepted and more open in Europe because Europe has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. The United States of America is only, 500 years old? It's not even 1,000 years old. So we're still in that puritanical, egg that was trying to come out, like a chick coming out of an egg. We are still very young as a nation. 500 years is not a long time. So we're still in our infancy when it comes to human experiences. Europe kicks our ass thousands of years. Okay? Having said that, let's jump in to Venus in Aquarius when we're dealing with the human male. Okay? So we're gonna jump right in and discuss the Venus. Well, first, before I go into the Venus in Aquarius man, I have read a lot of your comments, and yeah, the Aquarian woman or the Venus in Aquarius woman doesn't like the Libra woman. Is the Libra woman because they're both air. The only thing that distinguishes the Venus in Aquarius from the Venus in Libra position is that Venus is in its dignity in Libra because it rules the cardinal sign of Libra. But it is in its detriment actually when it's in Aquarius because Aquarius, although it's higher than Libra, it's not cardinal. So therefore, unlike Libra, where Libra will bother itself, Libra will step out of his own space to try to engage with another human being and try to connect with another human being and try to commune with another human being and do it genuinely. Libra will do this genuinely. Unlike Gemini, another air sign, Gemini is kind of similar to Libra, but Libra wants to get to know you more deeply, more interpersonally. Whereas Gemini just wants to know you superficially. They don't want to spend too much time trying to get to know you. They're certainly not going to care about your emotions any more than Libra will. But understand that Libra would at least make an attempt to dissect your emotion and to figure you out, to best know how to connect with you and deal with you accordingly. But when we're dealing with Aquarius, Aquarius is a loner. It's secular. They don't want to engage. Aquarius is either for the group, the collective, or is for their own individual sustainment. Like Knight Rider from the 1980s. Remember the movie Knight Rider? The guy with the car? Han Lindbrook, I believe his name. I forgot his name. Well, that's Venus in Aquarius. The wife, the girlfriend was the car. Every time he had a girlfriend, he had to get rid of her because the car didn't like her. The car was a real bitch. So when the series will end, he will ride off into the sunset with the car. No bitch. So understand that the Aquarian and whoever wrote the series Knight Rider and wrote the show, directed it, knew what they were talking about. They knew what they were doing. Because with the Venus in Aquarius woman, you have to understand that one of the things that I don't like about the Venus in Aquarius woman, which I think is very rude and nasty, and I'm glad that some of you on your comments are mentioning it, is that she don't like compliments. She gets offended. Not so much the men, but the women, oh my goodness. I mean, it's to the point where you want to curse her out. Bitch, what the fuck you think you are? What's wrong with you? Fuck you. Very off-putting. But here's how you can fix that. For those of you who have a Venus and Aquarius friend who doesn't like compliments, even though you're genuinely giving them, and she, whatever the hell she's thinking in her head, a lot of times it's evidence of lack of self-worth or lack of self-love. And I know that this is not going to be too favorably received by those women with Venus and Aquarius. But ladies, that's what you're giving off. You're giving off those signals that you don't deserve compliments because you don't love yourself enough to receive the compliments. Because God forbid people should think that you are offending them because you're giving compliments. Who does that? Who thinks like that? Venus in Aquarius woman. So here's the thing. For those of you who have a Venus in Aquarius woman who doesn't like compliments, how silly she is. This is what you do with such a woman. You buy a postcard with a little heart, put a little perfume, or buy her buy her some candy. Buy her some candy. Buy her some roses or some carnation. Okay? Okay? Buy her a rose and put it on the table. Thank you. Buy her a little something. Also lunch. Don't compliment her verbally. Walk away and then come back, and before she know it, put a little something, a little something to let her know that you're saying thank you and that you're complimenting her. Because God forbid you should compliment her and the bitch gets upset at you for no fucking reason. No, they're very quirky like that. I tell you, who doesn't like a compliment? If it's genuinely given, it should be genuinely received, Miss Aquarius woman. That speaks a lot about how you feel about yourself and your own value and worth index. Because we're not talking about people who are phonies and give compliments because, they're snakes in the grass. We're talking about genuine people that genuinely have concern and love for you, that compliment you genuinely. That it's an exchange of information, Mrs. Aquarius, Mrs. Venus and Aquarius woman. You should embrace that. You shouldn't hold that in contempt. You need to check yourself and examine yourself as to why you feel so self-entitled and the point that you don't feel like you don't need compliments like everybody else. Because maybe you don't need it, but somebody else might need to give you the compliment. Have you ever thought about that, Miss Venus in Aquarius? Maybe you might be doing the other person a favor by accepting the compliment because it might change their life. Have you ever thought of it that way? For as an intelligent woman as you are, sometimes you can be very, very oop oop doop. So that I agree with everybody else. I think it's rude, and I think it's intellectually rude But that's something the Venus in Aquarius woman has to work with. Now, enough said. Now, let me jump into the Venus in Aquarius men. But of course, now without my little merengue. You know, the merengue soda, which is Dominican. And then we have the strawberry or cherry, you know, fresa or frambuesa. And then we have the yellow one. I like the yellow one. We call it merengue. So after the music genre, which is also Dominican. So delicious, delicious. The man born with Venus in Aquarius is not interested in dictating to a woman how she should be, how she should act. Okay? Okay? The Aquarian woman, the Aquarian man is not interested in trying to change a woman and trying to dictate to her how she should be, how she should dress. He does not make a shopping list of requirements for her. However, though, he is attracted to the one who appears most different than those in the crowd. So if you are a woman who is very non-traditional, for example, we have, there's a black tie affair, right? You know the men have to be dressed in a black tie, and the women have to wear gowns. Well, let's say everyone shows up to the party. All the men got black tuxedos, black tie, so and women, well, of course, women. There's infinite amount of gowns and styles and fashion designers that design these gowns. Uh, uh, but the instead of the woman showing up at the black tie affair with a traditional evening gown, which is what's required in these types of ball galas, she shows up in a pantsuit, very tasteful, classy, by Jean Paul Cartier or by Alexander Nazi or from what's another great designer, Hannah Sui from the 80s. Oh, we can go with the traditional ones, of this time now. But she shows up in a pantsuit where she should have a gown. She has great Manolo shoes, right? Expensive, nice shoes, great jewelry, and she has a gait about her when she walks across the room. No more sensual than a woman with a gown that she parades around with her hand. That's the woman that's gonna walk out of that ball or gala with the Venus in Aquarius man. He's gonna go after her. Or let's say if it's a woman that comes with a black, no, a red gown, when everybody else has white and black. She's the only one that shows up with a red gown. He will go for her. The Venus in Aquarian man likes a woman who is different and is cut off from the rest. Separate the fat from the meat. Well, all of us will go for the meat. The Venus in Aquarius man will go for the fat. Believe it or not, I will go for the fat because the fat is very juicy. Tomorrow is my birthday. I'll be 52 years old. And I feel like I'm 30. I look like I'm 30. A total blessing that I made it to the second half of my life. And hopefully, if God permits, we'll live to see 90 and in perfect health. Um, the planetary alignments that were present at the day of my birthday, 1967, are already in alignment today, the September 18th. It usually happens the day before or a day after, sometimes on the same day of my birthday. The birthday should be a special day for you because whatever you do on your birthday will set the tone for the entire year. Okay, so I said that in the middle just in case people skip, and then I'm gonna now say information in between, so you can't skip. So understand that this man is attracted to a woman who's different from the crowd. All right, let us change the music. Even though I like it, I gotta change it. I gotta change it because it's not setting the tone in the mood. And you know we gotta do that. Okay. Excuse me, blow my nose. Oh, uh-huh. Oh God, I'm drinking Irish moss, and it's pulling all the stuff out. So understand now that okay, like I said, he wants someone that's different from the crowd. His dream lover is someone who is individualistic, a critical thinker, and is very detached, but also attached at the same time. He likes to keep things interesting and likes a woman that keeps things interesting and has interests in all sorts of subjects and topics because you have to keep him engaged. Romantically, she she has to be kinky, but she cannot go overboard with it. Okay, she can be woman that can. Okay, she has to be okay, kinky and varied, but she also has to be romantic. But she cannot be romantic in the sense that she does the same thing all the time to invoke a romantic response. She has to do things differently every time. She has to do things differently romantically to keep him interested. Um, Here's the situation though with Venus in Aquarius. Ladies, pay attention. What I'm about to say is probably the most valuable information of this segment of Venus in Aquarius for the man. Is that the Venus in Aquarius man is a notorious womanizer. Notorious womanizer. He cannot keep his eyes on just one woman. This man loves women. He's a womanizer. Remember, the opposite of Aquarius is Leo, the sign of the narcissist, and the sign of the lover. You know, Leo. No, and he needs that attention. And a woman is a fresh experience for attention. No, a relationship is always wonderful at the beginning, glorious until it trickles down, right? The honeymoon phase. We're not talking about that, right? So the Venus in Aquarius man is chasing after the first moments of a relationship. He's chasing the honeymoon period of a relationship. And when the honeymoon is over, he drops a woman, goes for another woman to re-experience that honeymoon phase. When you get butterflies in your stomach, when the relationship is new and it's exciting. He wants to do that all the time, and that doesn't happen with the same person. So he drops a woman and goes for that same euphoric experience of the first fresh beginnings of a relationship in the romantic and honeymoon phase. And then when it starts to get into trouble or it starts to fuck up, as life usually does, move on and we experience the good and the bad, the ups and the down, because we're living in a world of polarity, of duality. So of course you have to have the good with the bad. But the Aquarian man, like most air signs, don't deal very well with crisis and change and uncomfortable feelings. They want to have things happy, 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 go lucky, and romantic and fresh. Who doesn't? But you don't throw someone away when it's over, when the going gets tough, when the honeymoon is over, the sweet honey or the milk and honey is gone or is dwindling. Now you want to jump and go to another relationship, so you can re-experience that blissful moment of the first phase of a relationship. Not knowing that you're causing so much damage, hurting these women, because then these women fall in love with you, they fall attached to you, but then because you'll find anything, any little thing to bother you, to then dismiss them and throw them away. Like doing this, you do this. The Venus in Aquarius, man, you do this with women. That's what you do to women, Mr. Venus in Aquarius, man. You man, I'm talking to you with Venus in Aquarius. A woman is a wonderful thing, delicious. But you don't use them as a masturbatory object, and then when you're done, throw them away. And that is what the Venus in Aquarius man does. And he's ruthless than Libra, because if you want to talk about Libra not connected to other people's feelings, Aquarius is worse. Much worse. And this is what makes this position of Venus in Aquarius that unpopular. So ladies, beware. Beware that this is, if you have a man born with Venus in Aquarius, he has some struggle staying with one woman. So you've been forewarned. Traditionally, though, and this is true of the sun sign of Aquarius, when especially with the men, is that they society labels them, sees them as uncaring. I'm listening to the music of Aquarius, Celia Cruz. You know the song, "This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius." Well, Celia Cruz is singing the song in Spanish, very in keeping with the Aquarius in Venus man and the Venus in Aquarius woman. And even Celia Cruz is singing about the Venus in Aquarius man. I am not kidding you. I'm listening to the music, so I got it just in case. I got it now for this position. But let me tell you, he seems unromantic or detached. Women always expecting him to show up at the door with flowers. The Venus in Aquarius man is not going to show up with flowers. You're going to be disappointed. You got to tell that nigga, "Bitch, bring me some flowers when you come here next time. You want me to cook you some food? You pray for? Bitch, bring me some flowers, something." You have to remind him, because he doesn't think like that. That's Leo, the opposite polarity of Aquarius. He will bring you the roses and flowers, not the Aquarian man. Or the Venus in Aquarius man. Let me put it that way. Okay? He don't, and it's not that he don't care. Well, no, I'm sorry. I gotta take that shit back. He don't really care. I gotta take that shit back. He don't really care. But he's not being mean-spirited about it, though. It's just not in his psyche, and it's not in his psychological awareness. And he doesn't care for it to be. Excuse me, everybody. I gotta re-up. So I'm back. So understand that we have a situation where the Venus in Aquarius person is not really the man, particularly. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Um, the Venus in Aquarius person is not. He's just so detached. He's so psychologically unaware, and he doesn't want to be aware. He doesn't mean to be detached, but that's what it is. Those are the laws. What does one do? The Venus in Aquarius man has to embrace the opposite polarity of this position, which is Leo. He needs to be in tune with the opposite polarity and be more considerate, more engaging, and actually step into the emotional space of another human being. The Venus in Aquarius man, as well as the Sun sign Aquarius man, doesn't want to do this. They, I don't know. I don't know if it's that they feel uncomfortable. Oh, well, that's what it is. They feel uncomfortable and they don't know how to handle it. It's almost like they were built not to be able to know how to handle this. And we're past 25 minutes. We're done with part two.